Hi guys, this is Genea, the Third Eye Gypsy. I'm just going to talk to you about my ayahuasca retreat. I just finished one this weekend. I just got back last night. My ceremony was with Hummingbird Church and Taita, Pedro, Davila. It was here in Kansas City. Actually, it was outside of the city. Really beautiful, beautiful property. Yeah, I'm just kind of now recording this for myself too, because I wasn't really able to journal. I, was processing so much that um, I just didn't, I just couldn't write it down yet. So everybody's kind of been asking me, how it went. And so this is just really the easiest way for me to save this experience and for you to hear about the experience. So, it was definitely one of the most profound, beautiful, terrifying, and peaceful experiences of my life. I found inner strength that I didn't know I had, and it's really empowering. One of my intentions was to learn to trust myself, and that was something I definitely did. So, I'm gonna try to tell this in order, but I guess if I forget stuff, I'll try to go back and forth. But so, I had arrived at like 5. We could arrive at 5 to 7. I wanted to get there early. Introductions were going to be at 7:30, and we were supposed to drink the medicine at 9. So I arrived, and we got checked in, and they used white copal, and they cleansed us, and they cleansed our stuff before we came in. And then we went up to the ceremony space, and our mats were set up, and we each had like journals and eye covers, and they had blankets and pillows for us, and they had these really, really comfortable mats. I had brought a ton of stuff just in case, because I was worried I was going to get stuck on a cement floor on a yoga mat and just be really uncomfortable for hours and not be able to focus. But so one of the first things I noticed is that I was by a window, so I was in a corner up against a wall, and so there, the end spot was to the left of me, and then I was the next spot, and then there was like the rows, and there was like another row this way and another row this way. And they had our journals with our names on it, and I went to the spot that had my name, and I noticed that the mat next to me, her first name was my middle name, and I thought that was kind of cool. And then she had tattoos on, and then I saw a Luna moth on her arm, which is the symbol that I ask my I am presence to show me. And so I was like, wow, okay, I see you. And, we talked, and so it was like her mat, mine, the one next to it, and the one next to it, and all of us really just kind of bonded. And actually, there was another one, so like 5. And then the gal that was to the left of me, her wife was over, so she had come with, and they tell you not to be right next to your partner so that you don't interfere with their process, because it's natural for us to want to comfort our significant others when they're experiencing hard things. So we get settled and we're hanging out, and we get ready, and I'm trying to think of how it all goes. So Taita came around, and we got Florida water, and he puts it in your hands, and then you rub it on your face and like over the top of your head. And then I'm trying to think. It's hard to remember all the details, but I'm going to try. So let's see. Then they offer hape or rape to people. They were offering it to people that had done it, mostly just because you can have a hard experience if you've never done it before. And so I didn't receive it on the first night. Hape is like, it's like a snuff. It's like a sacred tobacco, and I don't know if there's other things in it, and they use a little kind of V-shaped pipe, and they put, the snuff in there, and they put one part up your nose, and they blow up it, and it, puts it in your sinus cavity, and it burns really bad. Your eyes water. You're not supposed to swallow it, so you have to kind of like hold your nose and just breathe, and it's intense. And then you pretty much are always carrying your bucket with you, and you take it, and so go back to your mat and just kind of process that, and you have to hold that in basically for as long as you can, kind of breathe through it, breathe deep breaths in, and not let it not swallow it. Just if you just like spit into your bucket, and you let it kind of go through you. You can like feel it in your face and feel it in your body, and it's supposed to help kind of calm you for a ceremony, and she works well with ayahuasca. So then Taita will call people up, and everybody forms line, and you go up there with your bucket, and you receive the medicine. And sometimes he will call like people up. He'll like go and pick certain people, or have like different orders. Or like it'll be, if you haven't drank before, you'll go up first, and then if you have, then you'll go up next. And if you have your moon, they give you the sacred tobacco with Florida water on it, and then they bless it, and you just put it in your underwear, like over your womb, to protect you. And so, then you go up to the altar, and Taita, you look him in the eyes, and he decides, how much you need. And then he says a blessing over it, and he goes, whoosh, and then he hands you the cup, and then you drink the cup, and you put it in a little bucket, and you go back to your mat. And let me tell you, the taste of ayahuasca, you will never forget. It is, it's very strong. They serve it warm too. And my neighbor had told me, she's like, yeah, it's warm. And I was like, oh, I wouldn't have expected that either. But it's a brew, almost kind of like a thick tea. And it's very acidic tasting. And I feel like it kind of has like a peppery aftertaste to it, but it's very, very strong taste. And so you basically want to keep the medicine down for like at least a half an hour before you purge it up. Otherwise, you might have to go and drink more. So we drank our cups, and then we like laid on our mats and put on our eye covers, and just got comfortable, and you just kind of like sit and wait for the experience. And then when I was glad. I'm like, okay, cool. I got it down, and it was staying down, and I'm like, okay. And so I just was closing my eyes and trying to be in the experience, and I felt like a warmth kind of come over my body. I got like really hot because I had a blanket over me, and then I took it off, and then it's like you feel it in your body. And then I started to get extremely intense visuals. They're closed eye visuals. If you look behind your eyes, you'll see really intense things. You can open your eyes too, and you will see visual stuff as well. And for me, during different parts, I did open my eyes just because it is like very intense. And the visuals are really like indescribable. For anybody that's done DMT, that is what the visuals look like, or that's what they looked like to me for sure. Except this was more intense, and they're just multi-faceted, multi-dimensional images that are every color that you can imagine, with all these really intricate geometric patterns. And they shift and turn and do all these things. And before you could even process what it looks like, it changes. And it was just it was really intense. And I'm like, okay. And then I was in my mind, I'm like, I'm like almost fighting with it, and like this isn't what I wanted. I wanted to like figure some stuff out, and so I feel like I was kind of fighting my first night, and then I was like, okay, this is pretty, but like I guess, and this is why they tell you don't have expectations, which I didn't think I did, but I guess in my mind I was trying to find ways to understand like what the experience was going to be like, or just how things went, because I read so many people's experiences. But so, the visuals were going and going, and then I was scared, and I was like, okay, I don't like this. I don't want this. I just, I'm like, okay, and I'm just like trying to breathe through it. And then I just, you can speak to the medicine and she will respond to you. And so I just kept asking her to be gentle with me. I'm like, Mama, please be gentle with me. Mama Aya, please be gentle with me. Please be gentle. And I just was trying to breathe through it. And it got more and more and more intense. And I mean, it felt like it was kind of like folding, like I could feel like almost the weight of the imagery and everything like folding down onto me. And it was like just very all encompassing. And so I was just trying to breathe through it and, process these images. And then, let's see, so I kind of had gotten through the first cup. And then I noticed I was like, I kept asking her, please, please be gentle, please be gentle. And then I noticed it was getting kind of more gentle and more gentle and more gentle. And then it kind of started to like, taper off. And I was like, oh my God, I made it through the first cup. And then he called second cup. And then I'm like, fuck, because they pretty much tell you if you can hear second cup, you need to get up and get the cup. Or like if you can't get up, they will bring you a cup. Just raise your hand, they'll bring you a cup. So I get up and I go and I go up there and drink the second cup, and I lay back down, and I'm sitting and I'm kind of waiting and just trying to breathe through it again. I'm asking her, please be gentle, Mama, please be gentle, Mama Aya. And I start feeling the medicine way faster this time, and then it's really intense again. And I was like, there's three different like ayahuasca journeys. There's like the serpent journey, the jaguar journey, and the condor journey. And like the serpent journey is like very visual. The jaguar journey is like more emotions and feelings, and then the condor journey is supposed to be like outside of your body, kind of watching everything, as how it was explained to me. So again, I was getting like really intense visuals. It was really heavy. Just experiencing, feeling that kind of like weight of the things on me. And it's hard to explain. You just feel like you feel like enveloped in the imagery and the experience as it's all kind of like moving around you and coming towards you, and just all the images. And I did notice, in some of the imagery that I did see eyes, which I thought was really cool, because I love eyes. And then I was wondering, because some people say they'll see a serpent, they'll see a jaguar, they'll see different, spirits of the Amazon in the medicine. And I didn't see those in mine. But, so we're in the medicine again, and, you're hearing people releasing. There's people that are purging. There's people that are crying, and, everything. So the purges are like crying, yawning, throwing up, evacuating, your bowels, laughing, having like muscle movements or spasms, or needing to kind of like move around. And so during one part of it, I was in between, either one of my mat mates, and the one of them was purging and the other one was crying. And I was just trying to, be in it, because you're in this room with all these people's like emotions and energy and all of these traumas that they're processing. And so it's very intense to like be experiencing this for yourself and, experiencing collectively. And so I finally had, I was like, okay, raise your hand. And then I couldn't put my hand up. And then I'm like, okay, raise your hand. And then I finally got my hand up, and one of the helpers came over to me. So they have, there's Taita, and then there's the facilitators that help. There's like a couple of his people that help do different parts of the ceremony. And then there are other people that are there to hold space for everyone. And so they are pretty much keeping a watchful eye on everyone while you're having your experience. And they're there to hold space. So they don't interfere with your process. They won't look you in the eyes. They don't make eye contact so that it doesn't pull you out of your experience. But they will help you, like basically like when you're in the medicine, like you can't, like you'll stumble, you can't really, you have to find your footing, like you're like wobbly, and so they'll come and help you get up and help you walk to where you need to go. They'll help you to the bathroom, or they'll help you, get to another place, or they'll bring you something if you need something. And so I had asked her, I'm like, can I go outside? And she's like, I'm not sure if we can go outside yet. She's like, let me ask for you. And so then I waited for a few minutes, and she came back, and, she gave me a nod, and I was like, okay. So, she helped me up, and I grabbed my water and I grabbed my bucket, because you don't go anywhere without your bucket, basically, because you never know when it's going to happen. So we had to walk down our row, around another row, and then out the door. And there was a deck, and then there were stairs, and there was the grass. So she opened the door, and I get outside, and I just felt like the release of just all of that energy, and it just felt peaceful outside. I could just feel, everything just get calm, and I was so relieved. And she had gotten me over, and I wasn't quite ready to get, down the stairs. You'll kind of like change your mind. And so I was gonna sit for a second, and I looked up at the sky, and the moon was beautiful. It was so like full, and like the clouds, and it was just incredibly beautiful. And I just looked, and I was like, wow, it's just amazing out here. And after a little bit, I asked her if she could help me get down to the grass. And so we got to the stairs, and she was like, okay, go really slow, So she was just helping me, because there was, a few rounds of stairs. And then you walked down like a cement part, and they had like an outside fire, and there was, some more chairs. And then we got around to like the drive, and then there was grass. It was on a giant property. So there was all this, land, grass, and like smaller trees, and they had a couple like little lakes out there. And so I get to the grass, and I just go and like lay in the grass. I just like starfish myself out and just lay my head there, and I've got my blankets, and I'm just like just hugging the earth. And I was like, thank you, Pachamama. I just was so grateful to be held there. And I was also just so tired. Like, it's kind of weird, because when you're in the medicine, it's like it can make you kind of tired too. So you're in this, having these very intense experiences while also being tired. And I just felt so peaceful out there. And I just laid there, and I was there for a long time. And then I had kind of, I was just laying there peacefully, and then I was like, wait, I'm also like out in the open, out in nature, I'm like, what if I fall asleep out here, and like some animal comes up to me or something? And so I'm like, I should be more like present, about like danger around me. But then I had kind of looked around, and I had noticed that one of the helpers was, so if the grass was like here, she was, back over here, sitting in a chair, just being an observer, just holding that space and just making sure I was good. And, I kind of sat up, and I looked, and I was like, oh, you're out here? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, you've been out here the whole time? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, I was just, keeping an eye on you. And then I guess a few different people, like in that time, I guess I must have been laying out there for a while. So there were a few different people that had switched out and came out there and sat with me. And it was pretty crazy. And then after everyone had kind of like come out of that experience later. They offered soup, and they had offered like a, I guess it was like kind of like a curry soup, and I was like, oh my god, why are they serving curry? Isn't that spicy? You're not supposed to have that stuff, before. You're not supposed to have spicy stuff. And I'm like, oh my god. So I was kind of worried, and I didn't want to get sick or anything, and so I just I did not eat. I was like, I'm just not going to do that. And so I was just, trying to sleep. That everybody was kind of on their mats trying to sleep because you all sleep in the same place where ceremony is held. And I was, just trying to sleep. I had like put my eye cover on, and then I noticed I still had visuals, and I was just like, oh my god. And it wasn't intense like it was before, but they were still, there. And I was just like, Mama, please just let me sleep. I'm so tired. Mama, please let me sleep. And I like just had to lay there and just let it keep going. And like I said, they were much less intense for sure, but I mean, when you're tired and you want to sleep and you can't sleep behind your eyelids because they're, giving you visuals, it's pretty crazy. So then I felt like after that had kind of stopped, like I had my eyes closed and I was like rested but not really sleeping. I didn't really sleep, I don't think. And then I maybe after a while might have dozed off for an hour or two. And then, we were awake, and it was the second day. And actually, when I was in the grass, and I was having that experience before, I felt like peaceful. I was like plotting how the fuck I was gonna get out of there. I was like, I can't do this. I need to go home. I'm gonna sober up, and then I'll sleep, and then I'll go to them in the morning and have a meltdown and be like, I can't, like, I just can't do this again, like I need to go home. And I was like, then I'll go home. And then I was like, fuck, but like I didn't get the answers I was looking for. And then I was like, well, what the fuck, like I came to do this experience, and then I was like, what if I go home and I'm just as like confused as I was when I came? And I, you know, I had kind of talked to people in the morning, and I was kind of, they served breakfast, and I wanted to eat, but I was still just like, just having a hard time. I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna have to get this food down, and what if I throw it up, and all this other kind of stuff. And hold on, I'm gonna go grab a charger because my phone battery's going down. All right. So then I was sitting outside, and actually, I forgot this part. So during that first night, after I had kind of come back, to reality, another one of the helpers was sitting by the fire, and I sat on a chair by him, and, I was just kind of talking to him, and having really great conversations, and, just kind of talking about things. And it was really nice to just kind of have somebody to talk to. Because like in ceremony, you're not supposed to touch anyone, you're not supposed to talk. Because again, they don't want your talking to interfere with someone else's experience. And, no touching because the same. And also just, for people's protection, because there have been bad things that happen in ceremonies. Like ours was safe and good. And I'm really grateful for that, because I've heard, bad stories about ones where people were not safe. But so, it was the next morning, and I was outside trying to eat this food, and I was talking to another one of the participants that was there, and I was just telling him, I was like, yeah, I'm having a hard time. I'm scared. Like, I want to go home. And, I was sitting there trying to eat my breakfast, and I look up and I saw a singing bowl, and I was like, oh, it's a singing bowl. I love singing bowls. And he's like, yeah, that's my bowl. Would you like me to ring it for you? And I was like, oh, I would love that. And so I sat down with my food, and he rang the bowl for me, and it was so wonderful. And, I was just kind of talking to him about how I was having a hard time. And he was like, oh, he's like, well, I have selenite. He was like, here, he's like, take the wand, and he's like, bring it around your head, like 5 times. Or just, he told me a few times, so I did like 5. And then I just held on to it, and I said, thank you, and I gave it back. And then I said, he asked me, he said, you look, he's like, you're glowing. And I was like, he's like, I saw, I saw something leave. Do you feel better? And I was like, I do. So I ate my 1 hard-boiled egg and a few potatoes. And, I was sitting at the table, and I saw the same person that was down by the fire that night. And I was like, yeah, I can't do this. I need to go home, whatever. And I was talking to him, and he's like, well, you could. He's like, but you didn't get the answers that you wanted. And I was like, how the fuck? Like, I'm like, and I said, man, why you gotta be so wise, Because it was true. I was like, fuck, he's right. And I was like, so I'm sitting here, and we got to like kind of talk to everybody after that and kind of like settle in, before we did the next ceremony. So we had a while, and, people were journaling or just hanging out, and, we were all kind of talking about our experiences. And, so then we get to like the second night, and, Taita's explaining how he does the ceremonies. He's like, the first night's like the introduction, and the second night is like when you do the work, and he's like, and the third night is, like lighter and all these things. And so I was like, what? I was like, I, thought it was going to be similar to like the first one, right? And I'm like, oh, great. I'm like, if it wasn't hard enough the first night, we got to do this again. And so, we go and do all the things again. We drink the first cup, and I was hoping, I was like, okay, Mama, can I please have a more like emotional like experience, like not, not as visual. And so, let's see. I'm trying to think if that was the second or the third night. Yes, this is where sometimes it's fuzzy. But, so, we drink our first cup, and then, oh, we got to go outside this time. We got to go outside, and I was like, hell yes. Because it was like during the day, and like it wasn't supposed to be until like I think 4, and we did it at 1. So when you're in ceremony, it's on jungle time, and jungle time means whenever the fuck it happens. So there's like a schedule, but that just doesn't mean it's gonna happen. It's pretty much whenever Taita is ready, and that's what we do. So, so then, we go outside, and we're sitting outside. I'm like, I'm putting my feet in the grass. I'm like, okay, sweet. And I was like, all right, that's going to be great. I'm in a good place. I was feeling better. And I was just putting like these good intentions out. And it was hot at first. And then like a storm was rolling in. And I'm like, oh, I love thunderstorms. This is going to be amazing. And so in my head, I said, hi, Dad, because we used to watch the storms roll in together. And, we were just kind of sitting there, and we were like out in the grass for a little bit, and then we had to come in and kind of come under like the awning underneath the deck part because it was like raining in. But I still wanted to sit outside, so I was like still sitting there, and I just like had my blanket over me, and I'm just out there like in the rain-ish, getting me wet. And I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad, this isn't too bad. And then here she comes, man, that second cup, let me tell you. It's like you get a little bit of the medicine, and when you drink that second cup, man, it hits really fast, like a lot faster and really intense. And then I get hit with all the visuals again, and I'm like, oh, please be gentle, Mama. But like, this time I'm like, okay, I'm going to surrender into the experience. And so I'm like, okay, energy, do what you need to do, just move through me and do what you need to do. And, I just kept breathing through it. And I just, kept saying to her, Mama, please be gentle. Mama, please be gentle with me. Please be gentle. And so I just, I was like basically begging her to keep it light for me. Because, people will tell you that, you know, I will not give you anything that you can't handle. And I'm like, wow, she thinks I can handle a lot. So yeah, that was pretty intense. And then there was a point where the storm had kind of, it had gone through, and I was laying down on the cement, like where the kind of fireplace area was, and I was just laying there, looking, and I opened my eyes because, like I said, the visuals are intense under your eyelids. If you open your eyelids, it's visuals that are on top of all of the other things that you're looking at. So everything is, obviously really trippy. And there's like, patterns and colors over the top of everything, like very, again, intricate patterns. And I'm laying there and I look over, and I think that other helper was sitting in that chair again there, but there was another participant that was on the ground. He was laying on his back and he was covered up, and I could just see his face, like the profile of his face. And I saw it kind of changing and it looked old. And when I looked at him, I saw my dad's face in his face. I saw the face of my dad, like when he had passed, when I had seen him after he died. And I saw his face on this person's face, and it scared me. And I was like, ugh. And I was like, it's okay. It's okay. Just it's all right. Just, breathe into the experience. And just, I'm like, okay, I see. And so I'm like, what, so I ask her, I'm like, what are you trying to teach me, And I just feel like, it was like, it's okay, you can let go of this experience, you can let go of these feelings, and, you can let go of this grief and this pain, just, So, I looked and I'm just like, my God, I'm watching his face like kind of morph and have, just kind of like colors on it. It looks older, and it just, it was intense. And then, the visuals are going on, and I'm literally just kind of like laying there. My body is just like, I can't really move, and I'm just kind of laying. And so then I'm like looking around at the other things that are out there and like watching the patterns and things. And then it had kind of, slowed some, and then it had mellowed down, and I'm like, okay, it was, like easing up, and, again, I was just asking Mama, please be gentle with me. And then it was like, I think I got to the point to where I could kind of walk around more by myself.